You ever catch yourself drifting off in the middle of something? Maybe in a meeting or scrolling or standing at the sink, and suddenly, boom, you are somewhere else entirely. Maybe you are reliving a memory. Maybe you are solving an imaginary argument perfectly this time. Or maybe you're building a future version of yourself that finally got it right. Then you snap back and think, focus, get it together. Yeah, I used to do that too, because we've been taught daydreaming is a waste of time, a lazy mind wandering off track. But here is the truth no one tells you. Your brain needs to wander. And when it does, it's not shutting down, it's getting up. We live in this world that worships focus. You've heard it 1,000 times. Lock in, grind, no distractions. And sure, focus matters, but non-stop focus, that's like driving your car with the engine redlining. It burns out. Here is the weird thing scientists discovered. When your mind drifts, your brain doesn't go quiet. It lights up like a city at night. Whole networks start firing. Parts responsible for imagination, planning, memory, empathy. They call it the default mode network. But honestly, I like to think of it as the backstage crew of your mind. You don't see them, but they are the ones changing the scenery, connecting the story, fixing what broke while you were busy performing. Here is what's actually happening when you zone out in the shower, or while driving, or staring out a window pretending to be productive. Your mind starts quietly running simulations. It replays memories, imagines future scenarios, connects dots between things that seem random. It's basically saying, hey, while you are not looking, let me reorganize your entire mental closet. That's why you suddenly remember that one perfect idea after you have stopped trying. It's not magic, it's maintenance. You know how Einstein used to say he got his best ideas playing the violin? That wasn't a cute anecdote, that was a strategy. When he played, his brain slipped from focus mode into wonder mode, and in that space between effort and ease, his mind stitched together everything he had been working on. He once said, creativity is intelligence having fun. That's not poetic fluff. That's neuroscience. When you daydream, your brain starts playing with the data it already has. And that's when the good stuff happens. Let's talk about the shower. You're warm, safe, distracted by the sound of water. And suddenly you solve a problem you've been stuck on for weeks. That's because your prefrontal cortex, the brain's control center, finally chills out. It stops filtering, stops editing, stops micromanaging, and the rest of your mind says, finally, some room to think. So while you're shampooing your hair, your brain is quietly connecting dots. It's like mental jazz, spontaneous, flowing, brilliant. Here is the problem though. We don't leave any room for that anymore. We fill every silence. Podcasts while we walk, TikToks while we brush our teeth. We've turned boredom into the enemy. But boredom is the doorway to creativity. When your brain runs out of input, it starts creating output. That itch you feel when you're bored, that's not restlessness. That's readiness. It's your brain saying, I've got some ideas. Can we talk? Now I know what you're thinking, but sometimes my daydreams just make me sad or distracted. Yep, been there. There is two types. Escapist daydreaming, that's when your mind runs away because reality hurts, and constructive daydreaming. That's when your mind runs ahead to help you figure things out. One numbs you, the other teaches you. The difference, intent. When you let your mind wander around the question instead of away from it, you start finding patterns you'd never see head on. Psychologists at Harvard did this wild study. When people intentionally let their thoughts drift toward a problem, not forcing, just meandering, they solved creative challenges up to 40% faster. Why? Because your subconscious doesn't work on command. It works on permission. You give it a problem, then you give it space. That's when it whispers the answer. Think of your mind like a sandbox. Every time you stop forcing yourself to do, your thoughts start to play. They grab little pieces from old memories, weird dreams, random jokes, half-remembered books, and they build castles. Some collapse instantly, some turn into blueprints for your next big idea. That's how creativity works. not in straight lines, but in loops, spirals, and half-finished sandcastles that somehow become skyscrapers later. People love productivity hacks, right? Pomodoro timers, deep work blocks, focus apps, all great. But if you never let your brain wander, you're just getting better at thinking the same thoughts faster. Productivity without pause is just mental treadmill running. Lots of effort, nowhere new. Real progress, it happens when you dare to stop. Every great idea in history, Newton under a tree, Archimedes in a bus, Steve Jobs on a walk, came when they weren't trying. Because insight isn't forced, it's invited. It's your brain quietly piecing things together until suddenly, click, the pattern appears, and that click feels like magic. But it's just the moment the puzzle finishes building itself. You didn't make the idea, you made the space for it to arrive. Here is what I want you to try. Pick one thing that's been bugging you. A decision, a problem, a creative block. Now, go do something simple and repetitive. Walk, wash dishes, drive, fold laundry. But here is the key. Don't force yourself to solve anything. Just let your thoughts wander around the edges of it. Your brain will start connecting the dots for you. Quietly. It might take minutes or hours or a shower later, but the solution will surface. That's not lack, that's your default more network doing its thing. You go to the gym to build muscle, you sleep to recover, but your brain, it needs white space. 5 minutes of intentional daydreaming a day, just 5, is enough to reboot your creative circuits. No phone, no podcast, just space. You can sit by a window, take a walk, stare at the ceiling, doesn't matter. The point is to do nothing on purpose. That's how you stretch the mind. That's how you make room for what's next. The real twist, the smartest minds don't always think harder, they think softer. Here is what blows me away every time I remember it. The human brain solved flight, electricity, art, and physics. Not by grinding 24/7, but by wandering into questions no one had asked before. The smartest people aren't the ones who think harder. They are the ones who think freer. They trust the drift, so the next time someone tells you to stop daydreaming, smile. Because you are not wasting time. You're rewiring your mind. You don't have to fight your thoughts into obedience. Let them wander. Let them play. You'll bring your gifts when they are ready, because somewhere inside that messy, drifting, wandering mind of yours, your next idea, the one that changes everything, is already waiting to be found. Don't fight your daydreams. Follow them. They are trying to lead you somewhere important. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye for now.